Here, you don't want to hear a political speech. I'm not going to make a political speech. I just want to thank y'all for being so active in the political process. I spoke yesterday to RPAC.
We'll see you in the next couple of days.
And we talked about some of the issues that y'all are facing in the real estate market. In particular, you got two big issues, which are property taxes and outrageous windstorm rates. If you don't get them fixed, a lot of you will probably be doing something else in a couple of years because the real estate market is going to implode.
Actually, this
people don't want it. Well, you're feeling it now, but if you don't fix it, next year's going to get worse. And so we talked about a couple of things at the RPAC meeting yesterday. I just want to briefly bring up, and then if you have any questions, I'll be happy to talk. One is property taxes. I served the legislature for 8 years down here, and one of the things I sponsor was Save Our Homes, which gives you some homestead protection, but unfortunately it only covers homestead. And I mentioned that I have a proposal to also protect affordable rental housing, where if you agree to rent your home or apartment underneath the affordable housing guidelines, the property appraiser can reduce your assessment, which will reduce your taxes. These are a couple things there. Another thing is that getting more money down here overall for affordable housing. I sponsored in the legislature the Saunders Act. And part of the reason why was a partnership we had with the realtors and builders, and we had a dock step increase, but we swore and promised that all that money would go to a trust fund, the Saunders Trust Fund, and would only go to affordable housing. Well, what's happened with term limits, a lot of people I serve with are gone, and they put a cap on the Saunders Act, trust fund. And what's happened is they've diverted that money to other places. I want to go to Tallahassee, take that cap off, number one, and number two, make sure the formula is adjusted to go to the areas of highest need. And I can't think of an area with higher need than down here, because as you know, it's really hard, not just for teachers and sheriff's deputies, but for service industry workers, etc., to find housing. So we need more money down here, and so those are two things on property taxes we want to work. Oh, also I mentioned affordability of the Save Our Homes exemption. Let's say you bought your home for $100,000, it's now worth $600,000. You want to get a smaller house for $300,000, you'd actually pay more taxes on the smaller home. And I want to be able to transfer that exemption across to the smaller home, which helps you as realtors, because then you got two houses. You get one that goes in the market, the bigger house, and you hopefully can sell that person the smaller house. So I think that will be helpful there too. On insurance, basically, there's no. And with that, he has to take a drink. You know. I always hate mentioning windstorm insurance. If I starts drinking, I can't. That's the only way we can bear less than windstorm insurance. But yeah, truthfully, there's a crisis in windstorm. We never thought that it would be as bad as it is. We have a quasi-governmental body, Citizens Property Insurance, which I've already said publicly, I think it's a blood-sucking vampire and wants to drive a stake through their hearts. I think you know where I stand. And also have some greedy cousins, Peninsula and HomeWise, and our takeout companies. And really, the problem is the law. People say, well, how can they do this? How can they come down and overcharge us? It's been proven they're overcharging us. You know that now. They came with a 20% increase, Citizens did it, so that's excessive. So they came back with a 26% increase. And then they not only didn't get the increase, it was rolled back. So the rollback, I think, shows that they were wrong in the first place. And I want to say publicly, I give the credit to firm.
Yay!
You wouldn't know that if you watched the campaign ads for David Rice, because apparently he did it all. Maybe with help from firm. I have to admit, he does say once in a while firm helped, and so I want to give firm that credit. But firm did it. We all know firm did it, and I think that's important. But firm won a battle. The battle was the rollback this year. They didn't win the war, and firm knows they didn't win the war. The way you win the war is to go to Tallahassee and change the laws. Why do you have to change the laws? Because people say, well, how could Citizens do it? I said, because the law let them. How did that law get passed? Because the insurance industry wrote it. How can the insurance industry write laws? Well, because they give millions of dollars to political parties and candidates. Duh. And you get to see some of those ads, by the way. The attack ads on me are paid for by whom? Republican Party of Florida, Tallahassee, Florida. Yeah, there's a connection there. Now, and I say that as a Democrat, saying I have a lot of Republican support. I'm not saying anything bad about Republicans locally, because probably half of you at least are Republicans.
No.
Well, I know a couple of you are. The people down here locally know what's going on. The people in Tallahassee don't. They know that we're getting screwed down here. If you get your bill, it's not a Democratic bill or a Republican bill. It's a tax bill or it's a windstorm insurance bill. Those are problems. What you have to do is go to Tallahassee and change the laws. And it's not going to be easy, because they have a lot of power, a lot of money. They're not going to like it. So that's why I think my experience with 8 years in the legislature will help me get some things done. Because there are several things that are just out and out outrageous. And I'll give you two examples. One is they have what's called a file and use statute, which says basically citizens can come in and say, raise your rates by 200%. Clearly excessive. You have to start paying it right as soon as they file it. And if it gets rolled back, they say, we'll give you a credit or rebate maybe someday. Well, that's not fair. They should have to come justify their rate before you start paying it. The second thing is really ironic, is that despite what you might hear about me being a Tallahassee guy, I own the house in Key West my dad was born in.
Yep.
And it's on Olivia Street. It's been through dozens of hurricanes, never one bit of wind damage. In fact, last hurricane I left the windows open hoping to blow down because it's worth more. Wouldn't do it. No wind damage whatsoever, but yet you'll have to pay a surcharge based solely on the age of your home. I said, wait a minute, these homes in Key West have been here for a dozen hurricanes, never had a wind claim, but yet a house in the Keys that might have on stilts, might blow off the first one, pays a lower rate. That's stupid. The reason why these laws are stupid is they don't really recognize reality. I asked a lady from Citizens at the rate hearing, I said, let me ask you a question. She said in her opening, well, the rest of the state shouldn't subsidize Monroe County. I said, what, you're right. So in a break, I said, and she knew who I was. Suzanne Murphy knows who I am. I said, let me ask you a question, Suzanne. How much is Monroe County paid into Citizens and premiums, and how much is Citizens paid out in claims in Monroe County? She told me to my face, with my little sticker on, and knowing I'm a former legislator, I don't know, go ask firm. So I did. She didn't know I knew Heather Carruthers, so I walked over to Heather. I said, Heather. She said, oh, $248 million. What do you mean? Oh, we've paid in Monroe County, $248 million more than they paid out in claims. And at that point, that's when I decided Citizens was the enemy, and we had to go fight them, because that's the kind of attitude that we're facing in Tallahassee. Is basically they don't care. They were able to get away with it, and then you got Peninsula. My favorite story of Peninsula is, let's say Jenny is a good ratepayer, and she always pays her policy on time, and she's a lawyer. What do you want? It's funny. So you pay it on time, so she gets rewarded. Her reward is that the Peninsula will come in and take her out. And by the way, Citizens will pay bonuses to Peninsula for taking her out. And her reward for being such a good ratepayer, after being cherry picked, is they get to raise her premium over Citizens, which is supposedly the highest rate in the state of Florida. So Citizens let you go pay somebody to take your policy, and the people that take your policy raise your premium. And then they say, well, I want to go back to Citizens. They went, oh, no, you can't, because we're the last resort, and now you have another resort. It just has to be available, not affordable. So the insurance commissioner finally recognized that's probably not fair. And you might see it because the firm, once again, the firm has said, no, you should be able to go back to the lower rate, etc. But those are just examples, and you keep saying, how could it happen? And I have to keep going back to the law lets them. They're not doing anything illegal. It may be immoral, it may be unethical, but it's not illegal, because illegal means against the law, and the law lets them do it. So once again, how do you do it? You go through, you change the laws, you have to fight them. It's going to be a big battle. And so I've now given a longer speech than I ever given before. So I'll leave it there.